Hello, everybody. I'm finally back, at least with the type story. I'm finally recording new episodes. I had actually recorded episodes months ago, like relatively recently, but then there was, it's been a big problem. My computer crashed. It had a huge problem, and I actually had to get a new computer. Fortunately, I had backed things up, but there was some problems with the audio files that I had recorded, and also I just didn't feel satisfied with them, and that was partly because, I'll just run you through it real quick, just because it helps me to be able to do this, because this is obviously improv, because for whatever reason it just doesn't feel right every time that I try to actually write things down as a script for this story. I feel like I would enjoy it more doing it as an off the cuff thing, and that means that I need to be relaxed. But I'm putting this on YouTube, and there's a part of me that's kind of like, do people actually want to watch this? And obviously the answer is yes, because there's, certainly not in comparison to the type videos, which have been up for forever and everybody wants to watch. Obviously there is a huge gap in the viewership of the type story and like the type videos I've done in the past, and they're not comparable, but it's hard for me to get my mind out of that, because it's like I did them and it's like, well, of course they're not nearly as popular. That happens with everything new I put out. Also, it's just me talking. I don't know. There's a part of me that was kind of like, is this really, like, I almost have a hard time imagining that anybody would enjoy listening to this. I mean, I've created it almost like a podcast, something to listen to. I tried to make it more interesting by adding in the music. I don't know if that really helped, because I'm frankly not very good at doing it. I don't have the best equipment. I mean, I could probably try to fix that, but part of the problem was switching computers. I lost some of the programs that I've used aren't compatible, and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, and I'm just not, I prefer to keep things simple. Anyway, you don't really need to hear all of this. But it helps as I kind of try to do this, because people have asked me about the type story, which I was kind of surprised, because I'm kind of like, there's a part of me that's kind of like, well, I don't know. I mean, sure, the story is good, but I just didn't feel like the presentation was, I don't know. It's just me sort of rambling for a bit. And I mean, that's what I feel like I have the energy and the time and the equipment and the talent to do at this point. But I didn't know if that was really good enough. And I just get so self-conscious about that. But I'm going to kind of try to break through it. I think I just need to shut down the part of my brain that is constantly worried about what people will think of it, and trying to make it present and just do it, because people have asked for it. And I think I rely very heavily on a back and forth between me and the audience, because otherwise I just don't feel like, I mean, I'm doing it for the audience, and it's kind of like I need to know that they like it, and people have liked it, but it's just, so that's the first part of this video. The second part is that going forward, I might be changing a few things, not about the story or anything, but in how I present it just a little bit. So far, I have avoided describing any of the characters' appearances, really, with the exception of Godfrey. That was my attempt to try to make it so that the characters were more, people could just sort of imagine what they wanted, and I was kind of curious what people would come up with, but ultimately I do have clear images of what these characters look like, and that's just kind of a part of the story. I feel like it gives it much more life when you know what the characters look like, and along with what things in the environment look like. Also going forward, it probably will feel much more improvisational, because that's just what I'm able to do. I like to tell stories, and I think I just need to get it out of my head that because this is not a huge scale thing. So it's kind of like, I think I've been thinking too much as though I'm like this huge like celebrity, and and it's like, no, just do your thing. And so it's like, okay, I need to, and I feel much more comfortable when I lower that kind of, I guess it's almost like a self-importance in a weird way. But I mean, I want to get rid of it because it makes me nervous. So I just need to do things my way and not be so worried about whether or not people will think that it's dumb or boring or whatever, because they would think that anyway. So I'll actually describe the characters for you. So what I was thinking as I was doing this story, as I was creating the characters in my head, and I hope that I'm able to make it so that the characters are actually representative of their type. That's probably the other biggest problem I've faced in doing this, is feeling sort of restrained by that, because normally I just let the characters become who they are, but I made it a thing that I wanted it to be the characters actually represent a type, and I'm going to keep doing that because I have always wanted to do that, but it's just struggling with it. So I'm just throwing that out there because I'm trying to make this more casual. Andrea Whistler, who we left off, by the way, is wanting to get her husband back. She is in a bad way. I imagined her as being rather tallish and slender. She has blonde hair. It's fairly short. It's maybe about a little high, a little less than shoulder length, a little shorter than that. She prefers to keep it short because it makes it simpler. But it's very, very blonde, like golden blonde, shines in the hair kind of thing. And she's very thin, almost kind of bony. And she's unusually tall. She probably very kind of a lanky figure. I'm trying to think of, not like quite 6 feet or anything, but probably like 5'11", 5'10" at the least. So I kind of imagined her that way, and she's got a slightly deeper voice than is normally usual for a woman, and that just the way she's framed, but also just genetics and things. And so, just kind of has an interesting flavor to her that way. Benjamin Whistler is definitely shorter than her. He's maybe about 5'9". And he has, I was thinking more like brown hair. He's actually a bit, I'm trying to think of the right word. Just as a side note, in our language, I don't feel like we have very good words for describing, like, the only words we have are like fat or chubby or like round. Like every word we have for describing like people who are just have more fat on their bones, or they're just bigger built or whatever, like it's impossible. It's like an Orwell thing. I'm serious. It's like we don't have words that we can use, or at least that are coming to my mind that don't, because we just have kind of we have this humor mentality surrounding it, and it's so hard. But he's definitely thicker, I guess you could say. He's a little chubbier, huggable, you could say, but that just sounds so diminutive. But he's shorter, stocky might be the best way to put it. He's a stocky figure. He's got brown hair, kind of a squarish jaw, but he's kind of got almost this softness to him. Definitely not baby-faced, but there's a sense of he's not bony like his wife. There's kind of this opposition thing going on. But he's definitely stocky. He's also kind of hairy. I kind of imagine him as having... he's got these thicker arms, and so there's this, he almost is built a little bit like an ox, not in that he's like muscular per se, but he's thick. He would be difficult to push him over. He's got a strong center of gravity. And anyway, he has a nice face. He's got a great smile, because the ENFJs always have great smiles. La da 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 da. So that's kind of what I had in mind for him, He always keeps himself clean shaven, by the way. He always... no beard or anything, shortish brown hair. So Terrence Bell, definitely, this might be rather contrary to how some of you have pictured him. I imagined him a little bit taller than Benjamin, but he's not a very large man. He's a smaller kind of figure. He's a bit more bony, like Andrea, but he's got kind of a thin face. He's got almost a hawk-like nose, and it's actually rather large. It's like a Roman nose, and it's very prominent. He's got hawk-like eyes. Everything in his face is very almost seems kind of pointed. And he's got jet black hair, and it's thicker. But it's this thicker black hair that comes down a little bit, and He's always dressed very nice. He always keeps everything nice and crisp, almost compulsively so. Almost kind of like they wear like not like coats, but they wear a uniform. They don't have a tie. I'm almost kind of thinking of like something from Full Metal Alchemist. To be perfectly honest, I just didn't want to come up with a uniform notion that was just like our uniforms. I wanted to be like, oh, these are my cool science fiction uniforms, but like nobody cares. It's like I didn't have that in mind. It's just they're the military, so we'll just go with a Full Metal Alchemist look. That'll work. I'll steal that. But a smaller man, but he's got his eyes are very intelligent, and they're kind of a bit largish. He really does look kind of like a hawk or even like a crow or something. Like maybe a crow would be better. And he kind of actually hunches over just slightly. He's got like a little bit of a hunch that he's kind of, or a slouch slightly, just slightly. But he still tries to carry himself with his dignity, and he always speaks. He enunciates everything, and everything's kind of very proprietous with him. Richter Godwin, who is the final character I'll be describing because he's the final one who we've really kind of met in person. Richter Godwin, the ESTP. And in all the descriptions, by the way, I'm going to be reminding people who these characters, what their personality type is supposed to be, and I'll even in the stories remind you, and so that it's a little clearer. But I do think of the characters more by their names than I do. I mean, I remember the personality types, but it's almost like it goes unsaid. But I'm going to keep those in the descriptions from now on, just so that there is less confusion. But Godwin, massive guy. I mean, I've already alluded to this, but like over 6 feet. The man is very, and he's not like, oh, if you've seen Full Metal Alchemist, he's not like Armstrong, right? Like he's not like almost comically large or anything, but he's like movie star. He's like Sylvester Stallone almost. He's just a big guy, but he looks so good without even trying. He's just like, he doesn't try. He just kind of has that rugged kind of look. He shaves because that's what they do in the military, but it's like he just has so much manliness that he can't, like he always has a 5 o'clock shadow right on time, and his hair always looks better than Terrence Bell's. Like Terrence Bell uses far more hair gel, but he just like, I don't know, he just uses the sweat from his manly brow to make his hair look amazing. That's Godwin. And like all this makes him sound like he's some kind of a drum, but he's not trying. He just has the look. But yeah, I mean, I'm thinking he's got dark brown hair that he keeps very well done. I mean, he just has very nice chiseled features. So now I'll stop making my borderline gay description of him. I don't know why. It's like when I describe him, I just love the hyperbole that I'm able to put into it to really kind of make you feel it. I think it's the SE that it's just like you know when he's in the room, and I really want to kind of, it's just almost subconsciously I'm trying to put that into him, but that's Godwin. So those are the characters, but I'm going to record another one right after this and hopefully get a nice little chain going. To build up a bit of a buffer, because I think it would be pretty cool if I'm able to do this, on a more regular schedule, but we're going to see how it goes. So thanks for listening, everybody, and thank you for listening to me ramble, and I hope that this story is delightful for you in the future. So thank you.